Hello, everybody. Today I'm interviewing somebody that feels like a manifestation in physical form that I've wanted to connect with for a lot of years. Um, Today's interview is going to be about Palo Santo, but I'm not going to introduce it. I'm going to let him introduce it because he is an amazing person. I got to meet him at a market where we were both sharing our small business, and he's a father and business owner and just an amazing person. I'm sure you guys will see through this interview. But yeah, Oswaldo, how are you today? And yeah, how is your morning?
I am doing well, Alex. Thank you very much for having me today. And again, thank you so much for caring to really share the word of Palo Santo and the story behind it. It's one of my biggest missions is not just to, as a business, it's not just to sell, it's not just to make a sale. It's way beyond that. It's actually to educate people, to share a little bit of my culture, a little bit of a piece of my country.
Mm.
Right, so I'm very privileged to be here.
Yes, and I'm privileged to be even connected to you and talking to you, and I feel like I'm going to learn more today, even though we talked a bit there and there. But there's so much to learn, so I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Amazing.
So we're just going to jump right into. I have some questions.
Let's do it.
The first area is going to be really talking about Palo Santo and what it is, and the beauty of this sacred medicine. So, in your words, what is Palo Santo?
Palo Santo. So it's awesome. I always like to introduce it this way, especially even when I'm at a market and I start talking to people and they tell me, no, I don't know what Palo Santo is. So in a short sentence, to make it very simple, Palo Santo, it's a tree. It's a wild tree that grows in the dry tropical forests of Ecuador, Peru, Colombia. I'm gonna say along the Pacific coast. It actually stretches all the way from, let's say, Peru up to Mexico. So you will find Palo Santo in dry tropical forests right along the Pacific coast on that side of the continent.
Wow.
Now, the real magic about it is Palo Santo. It's I heard somebody say it once. It's the immortal tree. It's something. It's a tree that gives life even after the tree has had its course, right? The major thing and one of the things that we take the biggest pride on, it's Palo Santo should never be cut down. Palo Santo has to die naturally. Once it's dead, it has to fall on the ground and it has to rest for a minimum of 5 years. Only then you begin to get that true essence of what real Palo Santo, real sustainable Palo Santo is, right? So unfortunately, along the way, there, like everything else in life, right? There's a way of doing things, right? You could do it the right way, for which you have to be patient. You have to follow rules, or you can always take shortcuts, right? Unfortunately, there are a lot of shortcuts being taken, and it's sad, not just for the environment, not just for the land, but it's sad because there's so much more being affected by those practices. It's the people behind it, the dry tropical forests themselves. So I'm very happy to talk about all that right now. But yeah, in short, Palo Santo, it's a tree that has many benefits, many benefits, which we'll talk about shortly.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for that beautiful intro. I think, yeah, I'm excited to get into the sustainability part. But before we get there, what gives Palo Santo its unique like aroma? What is it about it that gives it that special aroma?
Definitely. So in one word, the terpenes. So
Mm.
terpenes is it's something that grows in plants. It's like a series of natural compounds that plants develop, and basically it is those terpenes that give a given plant a unique aroma. So I always use cannabis as an example, right? Cannabis has a very distinct aroma, the plant itself, and it is because of those terpenes, right? Palo Santo, it's a very similar thing per se. It's got its own unique set of terpenes that give it that Palo Santo aroma,
Wow.
right? And very similar with sage, lavender, all of those plants, they all carry their unique terpenes, very unique, very different to each other. and they're the ones that basically give the aroma. Now, that's just one thing. There are different types of terpenes, right? So for example, one of the very unique terpenes that Palo Santo has, it's called D-limonene. So very like a very citrusy. I mean, Palo Santo is belongs to the citrus tree family, right? So it has very citrusy terpenes, and D-limonene is one of them. Back home, we have a thing back home where if you want to disinfect a wound, or if you want to cleanse something, lime or lemon, it's a go-to. It's a very natural remedy back home. So Palo Santo, being part of that citrusy family, coming from having terpenes that are very, very strong in D-limonene, it's very good for some of those healing properties, not just spiritually but also physically.
Wow, I love that. That's so interesting. And that kind of leads me into the next question, that I feel like a lot of people know Palo Santo as just the sticks.
Yeah,
But I feel like there's so many products out there that I'm even learning through you. Like, what are some other products and, I guess, uses of this beautiful tree? Like, I feel like it gives us so much, not just a smudging stick. Like, it's so much
definitely.
more.
Um, Palo Santo, I would say, has evolved over the course of history. So if I'm to speak respectfully about my ancestors, they would use Palo Santo in spiritual cleansing, so in rituals to really repel negative energies, negative vibes. The beauty about Palo Santo from a spiritual perspective is it promotes positivity, it promotes good fortune, but it also repels the negative vibes, right? So one of the most common uses, it's you'll do the smoke around you, right? The incense smoke, and basically that cleanses your aura, right? Contrary to many other tools out there per se that kill everything, Palo Santo is known to promote positive vibes and just eliminate the negative ones. That is from a spiritual perspective. Now, if we fast forward, it's funny, I always talk about this. Growing up as a child, so I lived in Ecuador, I was born in Ecuador, and I lived in Ecuador until I was 12 years old. As a very young boy, I remember knowing Palo Santo to repel mosquitoes. So that was the major use that we had used for, that was a major thing that we had used for back home. So one of the things was so us in South America, we're very social. So every night the neighborhood will gather, we will come out in the park, and we will all just make a round of tables, and we would chat with the neighbors. You know, it was a daily thing. It was so amazing. I'll never forget that. So then we have seasons, right? So in Ecuador, we only have two seasons. There's the rainy season, and then there's the dry season. The rainy season, mosquitoes come out. So back home, we have a lot of there are dangers with mosquitoes, dengue, malaria, all those kind of things, right? So you want to keep mosquitoes away. Um, the most important way that we will keep those mosquitoes away was with Palo Santo. So there was that smell. I remember growing up with that smell from a block away. You knew when somebody was burning Palo Santo because it was a bigger log, and it would burn for a few hours. But it was not only a pleasant smell, it was not only such a beautiful smell, it was only that, you can be outdoors, you can be outside, you can hang out with your friends, with your neighbors, without getting bothered by any mosquitoes at all, right? So protecting yourself. So mosquito is the biggest use. Other uses nowadays, and this is 100% credit to the people back home, is you're right. It went from just being a stick that we would burn to now people really studying a little the tree itself a little deeper, and finding ways. If we let the tree rest in the forest for this period of time, the tree itself begins to ferment an oil inside, right? So that oil, they figured out a way to extract it from suitable trees, from suitable logs, and that oil, which is actually one of the products that we carry, that we're bringing in its purest essence, basically gives you so many options from there. So from that oil as is, you can use a few drops, you can put it into a diffuser, into a water diffuser, and just a few drops of that, it's basically like using Palo Santo without the smoke.
Oh,
right? Like with just a few drops, your house basically, honestly, it turns into a forest. Your living room becomes a
mm,
dry tropical forest. That scent, you just all of a sudden you're like, you enjoy breathing.
mm.
Now, if you could also use it diluted, right? You could dilute it. You could mix it in with carrot oils. You could make massage oils. You can make relaxation oils. You can make cosmetics. You can make shampoos, soaps, lotions.
Wow.
The stick itself, people have figured out a way to grind it so that it comes out in not just in powder form, but also in powder mixed with a little bit of wood shavings. It's I actually just received a video which I'll be sharing with you on how they make the cones. So we also carry these products which are Palo Santo cones, right? They're a bit of like a pyramid shape. And what it is there's a fruit, there's an exotic fruit that people, take the liquid from inside this fruit, and they mix it with the powder, and they make cones by hand.
Oh,
They
wow.
glue them together. It's a long process. You'll see it in the video.
Mm.
They have to put the cones out to dry, but every single cone is made by hand. What else? Uses Palo Santo bracelets. I wear mine every single day. So Palo Santo bracelets, they have such a beautiful aroma to them. I wear mine every single day. I work in an office environment. I also I'm very involved with martial arts, so it's always a life on the go, right? And when things just get too crazy to the point that I just need a break within my own personal space, honestly, this is more than enough for me to just come back down, relax, breathe, empty the mind, without having to burn Palo Santo. So the evolution of this product, it's amazing. Before you had to literally burn a piece of stick. Now you don't even have to burn it anymore. Now you can wear it and you
Mm.
can smell it right there.
Yeah, very sustainable. A whole other point of sustainability when you don't have to burn it. You can just like have it
Exactly.
on your body. That's
Exactly.
I love that. I'm gonna
Exactly.
get a bracelet. I feel like you talked a bit about like the evolution of the products in that story. Um, and then like even the lemon, like I did not know it was part of the lemon family, like the tree
Yeah, the
itself.
citrus. Yeah.
So it must have so many benefits. What are some of its benefits to like the physical, even the mind or the skin? Like, can you maybe share a little bit about that? I know the mosquito thing is really, really cool. I'm gonna try that here in Canada
Yeah.
because do you think it's gonna work here in Canada? Like pushing away the mosquitoes?
You it depends. You have to burn I would say a few sticks at a time.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But definitely it's something I'm actually looking to importing a bit of those bigger logs that we burn for mosquitoes back home. So
Yeah,
that's in process. It is because it's a wooden product. It's a natural wooden product. There are challenges with Canada Customs,
yeah, yeah.
with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, but we're working on doing all of that in a sustainable and in a legal manner. But yeah, that's definitely the projects. But definitely try it out. Try it out. Let me know.
Yeah,
You
I
can also, I know some people have tried the powder. So we also carry the powder. And so people here have tried burning the powder and they said that it works for the time being.
awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are some of its benefits that you use it for, or your ancestors, or back in Ecuador, or even here in Canada? Because I know there's so many like the powder, the incense sticks. I know when we talked, you talked about like people using the oil and then putting the oil in different products, like your skin
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff. Like I personally did not know that about Palo Santo. So yeah, what are some of its benefits?
So I would say the most common benefit and use actually here, it's to promote relaxation, to if you're into meditation or activities such as yoga, anything where you just want to set the mood to say, you know what, I just want to forget about everything that's going on. I want to settle, empty my mind. Palo Santo, the aroma, the terpenes themselves, they're actually a very good aid to kind of set that environment.
Wow.
Definitely relaxation is one of the biggest benefits. Um, what I'm about to say right now is not so much from a medical perspective due to Canada Customs and Health Canada regulations. This is more just for information purposes, not something that I'm promoting in general.
Mhm.
But a lot of people that usually have trouble with anxiety, that a lot of people that have trouble with just too much and they have challenges just settling down, they use Palo Santo as an aid, as a tool to basically just say, you know what, everything's okay, the smell, the scent. And again, the scientific portion behind that is not just Palo Santo, it's the terpenes within the Palo Santo,
Mm.
right? So you hear, again, I always like to reference cannabis a lot, because you hear how cannabis has a lot of uses that, I mean, here, I guess we're just starting they're just starting to be allowed, right? But back home, when you come from small communities, our ancestors didn't have any of that. I mean, I have a few in my family back home. I have a few spiritual healers, and they always go to natural medicine, Palo Santo, herbs, all of that. That's what they resource to.
Mm.
Yeah. So now, if we talk about the oil itself, a few of the things that unfortunately we're not allowed to advertise just in Canada. So again, for information purposes, the oil itself, it has three main benefits. So the oil as is, the essence, it's antibacterial, it
Mm.
is antifungal, and it is antiviral.
Oh, wow.
So back home, people go to Palo Santo oil essence for a lot of these purposes. If you have, say, skin challenges, so skin problems, Palo Santo is actually very soothing for that. It helps you, just it gives you that coating, a very natural coating, no chemical additives. Where I've actually, we have the soap here in Canada already, and I've tried it out with people that say I'm a bit skeptical. But they use it. They use it and they say it's good, it's great.
Wow.
It's really helped them a lot.
I love that. So there's so many uses. Like I love nature. It provides so much beauty, and I love hearing about your ancestors and your land. So that kind of brings us back into the next theme of the land of Palo Santo and how
Yeah.
is it really harvested, and how can we do it sustainably, but also ethically, to support the people of where it comes from, right? So that kind of leads me into my next questions of where does it come from, and like what are the species of Palo Santo?
So Palo Santo only grows in the dry tropical forests. And I'm gonna say Ecuador because Ecuador is the place that I'm working with. Like I said earlier, it does grow in other countries, but we're working right now with, I was born in the dry tropical land. So as a young child, my grandfather, he actually still has a farm, so we actually still visit. But I didn't know that this was dry tropical land, right? I had no idea that this is where Palo Santo grew as a young child. It's only once I grew up and I started researching more and learning more that now I understand why we had so many challenges. Every time that we would go to my grandfather's farm, we will have to bring water, we will have to bring food, we will have to bring different things that I used to hear, they don't have this over there, or the weather over there is not good. Now I understand it's dry tropical land, it's not your typical land. And the reason why it's dry, I guess they go through periods when just in simple terms, when it's supposed to be raining, it doesn't rain. So there's no water overall. It's very challenging if you have a farm and if you have animals that they need to eat, they need to drink water. It's very challenging for those reasons. But Palo Santo basically only grows in dry tropical land, in dry tropical forests. Now, when you walk into a dry tropical forest and you see a Palo Santo tree, the Palo Santo tree might look dead standing up. It will have no leaves. It will just have branches. It will look completely dry. That Palo Santo tree is very much full of life as is. It's the reason why it gets rid of all of the leaves is that so that it can maintain water in it for longer periods of time. But in general, I mean, if you look around it, everything it just looks dry, like brown. I love the site. I every time I think of it, I think I told you too, the very first time I took my son was born in Canada, so the very first time we went back home and I took him to my grandfather's farm, the first thing he said as we started entering the land was, wow, this looks like Africa. So I guess he has seen a Discovery Channel video of the animals and he saw the dry land. And to him, Africa was the first thing that came to mind, right? So it's stories like that that really just fill my heart with joy, when it's like, you know what, this is where I grew up. This is my background. This is my family, right? So learning about it and just knowing how much good there is behind it, honestly, just motivates me to keep doing this even more. But the tree itself, I want to talk about the tree itself. So when I told you, you have a tree standing up, and the tree itself looks dead, and it's very much full of life. You cannot cut it. You cannot cut it to say, I want to get a few kilos of sticks here and I want to get the oil. Number one, if you cut the tree, you will not get the oil. You
Mm.
will get a liquid, but it is not the oil that we can use or that I have in the bottles behind me. It is a liquid that has absolutely no use whatsoever. The tree itself, once you start chopping the pieces of wood, it will look dull, it will look dry, and it will not give you that scent that we're used to, that we expect from Palo Santo. The tree, in order to say it is fully sustainable, the tree has to die of natural causes. Number one, has to die of natural causes, and it has to fall down. All right. Now, there are various reasons why it falls down. I mean, the tree will just break down, or the tree eventually goes down. Once it falls, you can't just go and pick it up right away. You have to give the tree time
Mm.
for it to ferment that oil. The tree has to rest in the forest minimum 5 years
Wow.
for it to begin to ferment that oil that we're so proud of. Even then, I mean, the process to get in this tree is, it's people going into the forest. Um, Now, picture, you can't go in cars, right? And
Mhm.
you can't walk. So what people have to do is actually they go in their motorcycles, right? Now imagine pulling trees out in a motorcycle. It's just not doable. So what they do is they actually have to fill bags. They have to cut the trees. They have to cut the tree into smaller pieces in the forest, put it in sacks, and then bring it outside. It's a sustainability. It's, if you want to work in a sustainable manner, it's a lot of work, right? It would be so much easier to cut the tree down and then you figure ways out to get it out. But why? There's, you're not just hurting the land, you're also not getting the product that you expect, right? So once people go in the forest, right, it's always like in sets of 2, 4, 6. um they'll find the tree, they'll find a piece of wood, and they'll analyze it. It's amazing how they know that. They'll pick a piece of wood and they'll say, this tree has been there for, say, 3 years, so we're just going to leave it here, let it rest a little longer. This tree lived for so many years. It's just so amazing how they know. I mean, and these are people that have been doing this for generations. Their families have been doing this for generations, so they know, they grew up with this, right? Once the tree comes back, so once it comes out, it is inspected once again to really analyze, okay, is there oil in this? um how much oil are we going to get out of this? Well, what is this piece of wood suitable for? Maybe not for oil extraction, but maybe just for making the powder, or for getting the powder out of it, or for cutting pieces, or for making beads. uh Different uses. So there, sustainability, there's in essence, that is how you get sustainable Palo Santo. It's, do not cut any trees down. You have to go into the forest and you have to find it, right? You have to find the pieces of wood that are suitable for this. One of the things that I love about our partners in Ecuador, so we work with small business partners. One of the things I really love about them is they've refused to work with the big multinationals. They've been approached by big companies here in Canada. They've said, "We can you get us a container? Can you get us a container or 2 containers?" A lot of money involved, right? And my supplier's answer to that was, "We cannot provide you a container. It's not about the money, simply because we don't make Palo Santo. We cannot manufacture Palo Santo. Palo Santo is found, right? The way that we work with it, it's what we find." That's why actually I've been through it. Last year, there was a period that I couldn't bring any Palo Santo in, simply because there was a bit of a shortage. It's, the season was not right, and they were having a hard time finding suitable pieces,
Wow.
right? So when that happens, simply we're not gonna go cut trees down just to satisfy a business intention. It's, we can't get any Palo Santo right now. So that was their answer to these big multinationals. Um, It's again, the big thing about it is it can be made, it can be manufactured, it's found. Mother nature gives it to you with the rule and conditions that you have to respect the process. I want to talk a little bit about ethics, right? So we say a lot, so one of our biggest themes is sustainably obtained, and ethically sourced,
Mhm.
right? There's like I just told you, there's a lot of work that goes into finding the wood and making the wood. um, these farmers, these artisans, their families, their communities, right? Their communities from the land of Palo Santo, as I like to call it. They make a living out of this. They depend on this,
Mhm.
right? This is what buys their meals. This is how they send their kids to school. Um, it has to be done ethically. What to me, what ethically means is, are these families getting compensated properly for all of this, right? And the reason I'm talking about this is because, again, I've done my research and I've come across companies, even back home, to be honest with you, that they want to basically establish a bit of monopoly per se, right? They want to say we're the ones that control Palo Santo here. And to be honest with you, they are not the ones we work with. Is we don't believe in a monopoly. We believe this is there's so much more. There are entire families, right? The problem to me, when you create such a monopoly, it's now all of a sudden you get to say how much people get paid, and from what I've known, many of these people sometimes don't get paid fair wages. To us, is we want to keep it small, we want to keep it simple, but we also want to keep direct visibility towards the background process. We want to make sure that, these people, these families, they're getting something that is suitable, that is basically a fair wage for all of this work that they're doing.
Yeah.
So sustainably sourced, and sustainable and ethically sourced, basically, to me, that is what it stands for.
Yeah. So, in summary, from what you're saying, there is an ethical and sustainable way, and to do this and to get it. And I think it's so beautiful what you said, that it's not about the money, and it's really like if they say no, that it's not like right now they're just not finding any. Then it's no. It's
Yeah,
not. I think that's such a beautiful lesson that we can take, maybe of patience and of timing, and there's just so much wisdom, and you can tell that these like your people from your ancestors and your family and your land, they're wisdom holders of this Palo Santo. And so I think it's important to note that like they're the only people that should be doing it. You know what I mean? Because it's a tradition. It's like generations of like families, and like to me it's really about the wisdom and the connection with the plants, with the land, in this case with the tree. Like when you were saying that based on the log they can know, or based on the tree that's fallen, they know how long it's been sitting there. Like that to me is just, it's so powerful, and it's such a beautiful gift that I think it is important to support them and to buy sustainable Palo Santo, because we're supporting these families back in your country, and even you, and like the ancestors. I think the ancestors lived through this medicine that I like to call it medicine, but these beautiful tools that we have access to all over the world now. Like
yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing now that I'm in Canada where there's snow outside and there's no tropical dry land here. Like, no.
yeah,
And I get to work with this beautiful medicine for my meditation and my yoga and my like rituals. Like it, to me, that is such a gift. But it's so important that we do it the right way, and like you said, do it ethically. Like these people, that's how they buy food and support their kids. Like that's their job. They're in terms in Canada, their career. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's more,
exactly. Yeah,
it's so beautiful. So I was going to ask you, like, is there an ethical and sustainable way to do this? But I think you answered that perfectly, that there really, really, really is. And I think it's so important that we continue supporting. um but my question to you is, how, like, as people maybe in Canada or different parts of the world, how can we make sure that we are buying sustainable and ethical Palo Santo? Like, what are ways that we can just know? Like, when I met you, like, I just, well, first of all, you're from over there, and like those stories that you were telling me were just so pure, and I could just tell in your I mean, I got to meet your whole family. It was such a, like, you know, your wife and your kids. I could just tell you would not be lying to me. Like it was so pure, and the energy behind your words and the energy behind your beautiful products was so, I don't know. I've personally never held a Palo Santo with that much. I can just feel it. The love and all of the hands it's touched. Like this has touched so many beautiful hands. And so yeah, how can we make sure over here in Canada that we are buying sustainable but also ethical Palo Santo?
So there are two ways. Number one, and this is something I really want to promote. It's not necessarily who you buy from, whether somebody buys from us or somebody else. Is I really want to educate. I really want to educate because there's a lot of things that happen that we don't necessarily see here in Canada. You can find articles, but you will never find them in English. You'll find them in Spanish, and then you have to work on translation from there. But always ask your supplier. They'll always tell you where it comes from. So they'll be able to provide you that information. But it goes beyond that, right? It goes way beyond that. Number one, always ask about what type of Palo Santo it is, because there are two types of Palo Santo, and one of them is endangered.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
We can probably chat a little bit about that afterwards. Always ask what type of Palo Santo it is. They should be able to tell you that. Always ask about the background sourcing. How is it obtained? What kind of families are you supporting? It's analyze it, right? Is there oil? What other products are you sourcing from this Palo Santo that I'm buying from you? The big one, the very big one, is Palo Santo is actually protected back home. So you have countries like Ecuador and Peru where the government is protecting it. They allow you to use it, but it has to be done in a legal way. So you can obtain something that actually for us, every shipment of Palo Santo that comes in comes with two certificates that are provided by local authorities, by the government in Ecuador. One of them is called the phytosanitary certificate, and
Wow.
the other one is a heat treatment certificate. So in order to get a phytosanitary certificate, you first have to put all your wood through a heat treatment certificate. Basically, that kills all the pests, any bugs, because the last thing you want to do is you don't want to bring any wild bugs here into Canada, right? So they have to be free of pests. Once you have that, then you go to the government and you say, I'm exporting. Well, our partners in Ecuador, they say we're exporting, say 10 kilos, 20 kilos, and this is what it's going out. They'll analyze it. They'll know who they're working with. They know who this is coming from. There's already been a bit of a background process in order for them to be qualified as exporters of Palo Santo, and they provide the phytosanitary certificate. The phytosanitary certificate is basically, let's call it a plant protection certificate that is given by the local country. Okay, so all of our shipments come with valid certificates. When you buy Palo Santo, regardless of who you buy from, ask about that. Say, can you show me the phytosanitary certificate? Can you show me the heat treatment, right? The phytosanitary certificate is the most important one. The reason why I promote that a lot, and these are things that people here don't know necessarily, right? But there are a lot of reports that will come out and they'll say police in this town just confiscated 3 tons of illegally cut down Palo Santo. Police in this town found 6 tons of Palo Santo camouflaged in banana boxes. It's true. It's happening. It's been happening for many years. And what is happening is what the police finds is Palo Santo being transported illegally from one place to another so that they could then export it all over the world, right? There was also another case that I heard of Palo Santo being cut illegally so that they could make boxes out of it, right? Sounds like a great idea, but not when it's being cut illegally, right? So one of the big challenges that farmers have back home is when they export fruit. So I'll talk about my own country. When they export, say, banana, the banana has to make it to Canada, to China, in a good state, right?
Yeah.
So avoiding bugs from entering it's always a challenge. So Palo Santo, because of the terpenes that I talked about at the beginning, it keeps bugs away. It repels bugs, right? Same way that it keeps mosquitoes away, it keeps bugs, termites, it keeps all those things that will eat the fruits, it keeps them away. It's basically a natural way to protect the fruits. So what people were doing at one point, brilliant idea. Again, just it has to follow the process, right? This is what I was talking about when there's a way people take shortcuts, right? That is one of the ways that people were actually smuggling it out just for purposes like that. Stuff like that will not have a phytosanitary certificate, right? If it's been done illegally, actually police have confiscated all of these drugs. Police will confiscate this. There's no way that you can obtain a phytosanitary certificate unless you obtain it in an illegal manner, right? But again, all of our shipments come with these documents. All of our shipments come with full approval from Ecuadorian authorities. And we actually do our own customs clearances here in Canada. I work in the customs industry, so I know how to do this. We do our own declarations to Canada Customs, and we have permission from the CFIA saying you can bring this in. This is my document. These are my certificates. It's all done in a legal way. So again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning is when you buy Palo Santo, regardless of who you buy from, ask about your source, ask about the sourcing, as not just what country it comes from, ask about how is it obtained and do you have the certificate to prove it.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
is the biggest thing.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. So,
Yeah, and going a little deeper than that, looking at the wood too, I want to actually talk about the stick that you were holding in your hand. Palo Santo as is should not be fully dry. It should not be dull. It should not be white. When you light a piece of Palo Santo, it should not burn all the way through at once. If you have a piece of Palo Santo that you light it up and it usually goes all the way through, that is not good Palo Santo. That is not sustainable Palo Santo. And that actually, it's funny because when I first started this at the beginning of 2021, where I actually started importing Palo Santo, a few people would buy the Palo Santo and they would come back and they would say, I'm having a hard time lighting the Palo Santo. This is usually the Palo Santo that I bought before would just burn all the way through. I wouldn't have any challenges lighting it, but this one turns off. And I would say, that's what you want. Allow me to educate you. Allow me to just give you a little bit more information. It's the reason why it's shutting off. It's because of the oil that our Palo Santos bring in, right? And that is something we take pride is when you open the bag of Palo Santo, whether it's the bags that you see behind me, or if you buy a kilo Palo Santo and you open that bag, you will get the aroma right away. It's a different aroma. It's not dry pieces of stick. You open that bag and the aroma just comes right out and you're like, wow, this is different. One of the reactions, actually the reaction that we get the most from first-time customers is, I've never smelled Palo Santo like that before. I've never felt such a beautiful energy in the Palo Santo like this before. This is different. This is natural. This is wow. This is like I just got it from the forest myself.
yeah.
I take so much pride in that because that is what sustainable Palo Santo is. There's oil in it. You cannot get the oil if you cut the tree down, right? The Palo Santo that we give you, there's a reason we put it in those pouches. The pouches that we put it in, they're actually insulated inside. The reason for that is when we give you a bag of Palo Santo, we want to bring you the most natural Palo Santo that we can bring you. And that is a way to basically keep the oil inside. If you see a lot of places, they sell the Palo Santos loose, what it does is the oil will eventually also begin to evaporate a little. You'll still have the oil, the Palo Santo will still smell. But to me, I like to bring it to you in the most natural manner possible, right? Palo Santo should always be a little bit of a yellowish color, right, because of the oil. Actually, Alex, I think you can attest to this too. It's you probably see a few yellow dots on some of those sticks, right?
Oh, yeah. A
The,
lot
the,
of I
a
saw
lot of them, right?
I was looking through them and I was like,
Yeah,
I just sat with the bag for so long and like looking at them and
yeah.
yeah.
So
But the
what that is the oil. Or
it's really powerful. I put them in my storage room where I have like all my products that
yeah,
and I opened the door last night to go like open and get a product and my whole room smelled like Palo Santo.
that's
And they're
awesome.
still in the bag. And I'm
Yeah,
like it's I don't know, like
yeah,
wow, just wow.
yeah. It's different. It's you don't even need to burn it to smell the Palo Santo. The
Mhm.
the first shipment that we brought in, and it was a box full of sticks. Uh, Same thing. The box arrived. We didn't even have to open it, and you could already smell the scent of Palo Santo.
Wow.
Now imagine when we opened the box, it was like wow. People will come in and be like, What is that? It's like, wow, you smell Palo Santo. The biggest thing is when we actually open the bottle of oil, the oil essence.
Mm.
You open that bottle and it's like it just goes like this. It's amazing. You actually have to wear a mask at points because it gets strong. But
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Oh,
But yeah, so those yellow dots that you see in some of the sticks, that is the oil. Now the reason you see them in such a manner is because you remember when I was saying for us to get a phytosanitary certificate, we first have to put this through a heat treatment process. That
yeah.
heat treatment process basically consists of on the sticks going into this. It's like a big pot, let's call it, and they're put into this big pot for a minimum of 45 minutes at a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius. What that does is it kills any bacteria, any bugs, any pests that there may be in it, but it also begins to withdraw the oil a little bit, right? So the oil kind of, it doesn't evaporate, it all stays in it, but it begins to kind of just start to seep through. And those are those yellow points, those yellow dots that you see on the
Oh,
sticks.
yeah, because it kind of like came out and then made a dot, like
Exactly.
the surface.
Exactly. And then they dry, right? Once
Yeah.
the heat treatment process is finished, the oil that begins to seep through dries up, and that is why you see those yellow points. That is pure oil from the tree right there.
Wow.
Yeah, and Palo Santo again should not be there are three colors of Palo Santo. These are things that you can also look into Palo Santo to kind of say, okay, what kind of Palo Santo am I getting right now? Palo Santo should always be a yellowish color, right? So it should be a bit of that yellowish color, again, because of the oil. But a very common Palo Santo that I've seen a lot here is white. Palo Santo should not be white.
Oh,
It
wow.
should not be pure white,
Hmm.
right? That means there's absolutely no oil in there, and that is not Palo Santo I would buy myself.
Wow.
There's a third color. It's a bit of a mixture in between. It's a bit of a reddish color. That is also not the Palo Santo we bring in. It's not as dry as the white one that I was talking about, but it's not also the same quality of the yellow one that we aim to import, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not, I've never seen the like reddish one. I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, but the white one is the one that you also don't want to see. That the white one is the one that you most of the time it is, again, because there's no oil in there, it's more than likely not sustainable.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, again, people don't know this, right? It's heartbreaking. Especially when I was beginning this, I've gone now and I've met with stores, and at the beginning it was very hard for me because it was not only, you're trying to start going with something, and a lot of these rejections were not because of the quality. They had nothing to do with the quality. They had nothing to do with the sourcing. It all came down to price. It all came down to, can you give me a better price than my supplier, right? Supplier being a bigger place. uh Heartbreaking from the perspective that, do we care about sourcing? What kind of Palo Santo are we really putting out there for people to see, to get, to experience? And yeah, at the beginning it was a bit hard for me, but I've learned to really, as I started meeting people, more and more people that really value, so honestly, such as yourself, Alex, it really fulfills me. It really says, you know what, there's a much bigger purpose, and I'm gonna work with the people that value sustainability. It's after explaining all of the process, people going into the forest, people finding the wood, coming back, bringing it out, people processing it, the artisans making different things with Palo Santo. It has to be an ethical sourcing. Ethical sourcing means you will not get the cheapest Palo Santo out there necessarily, right? If you go to a place and they offer you 6 sticks for $5, for $10, or something like that, it's something might be off, something's odd. um the oil itself, I've gone to a few places that say, yeah, I have Palo Santo oil, I can give you a 15 ml bottle for $5. There's absolutely no way. That is just not right, not possible.
Oh,
And same thing, when you open it, it's just not the same quality,
yeah.
right? So sustainability speaks for itself. Sustainability, honestly, I'm saying all of this because my purpose is to educate. But the minute that you get the products that I bring in from my partners in Ecuador, I'll be honest with you, they sell not because of what I say, they sell because of what people see in them, because of what people smell in them, because of what people, the quality and the aroma that people get in them. It's more than the story. It's the quality itself. The quality speaks for itself.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when we were at the market where we met and you were at the booth beside me, and like I love Palo Santo, and I was like, that was the first time I heard about the oil and everything, and I was seeing like the reaction of people, and you're right, it just like some people would be like, yeah, I don't know what Palo Santo is, and then
Yeah,
they just go away with a little bag because it speaks for itself.
yeah,
And like even if you have experienced it before, um it's different. Like I keep just like going like this without even lighting it because I'm just like, it's, yeah, I don't know. I've never had a Palo Santo stick smell this like strong, and the energy is so, I don't know. I'm just so grateful that I met you and the universe put your booth beside mine. It was so divine, and what you're saying is very true because I feel it. And I'm so happy to hear that there are these certificates that we can kind of ask
yeah,
questions. And,
yeah,
education is, I don't know, I'm somebody that just loves learning. I love being curious. And I invite you all, if you're watching this, to even if you can take the lesson of Palo Santo to other plants and other things like, so many of these things come from different countries and all over the world. And so we're all interconnected. So if we're, how do I say what I'm thinking? If we just keep taking from the Palo Santo trees that are still alive, at a certain point, there might not even be any left for us to take sustainably. Do you get what I
yeah,
mean? So,
yeah,
I mean, I don't think that would happen, but you get what I mean? Like we have to vote with our dollar. And I think just voting with our dollar, maybe even if it is $10 or $5 more, it goes a long way, and it teaches us maybe patience and to appreciate what we have in our hands, and to
yeah,
not maybe just take, and to be kind of conscious and aware of our day-to-day choices. Even if you are just lighting this in your room to meditate, it goes such a long way. Like every time I meditate and I pull this out, I just smile so big. It like almost brings tears to my eye because I just can't wait to go to Ecuador one day and to see the Palo Santo trees and to like say thank you to the communities, because without them and without you right now, I wouldn't have this in my hand. I just would not. And so it's like I'm just so grateful for your knowledge and wisdom and your education and your words. It's really, really powerful. And yeah, I don't know. I'm like I'm like, now I'm like, oh, what about all the Palo Santo I bought in the past? Like, because I was trying to like, but we can't be mad at ourselves for the past. We could just be present today and take aligned action from there, because we're all human. And what can I do right now? Think of today, and then ask questions. Like he was saying, like, you can ask questions. Don't be shy. I know
exactly.
sometimes I've asked questions at like retail stores and they kind of got mad. If they're getting kind of defensive, then maybe that that's not your place.
Yeah,
Because if they did do it sustainably and ethically, they would be proud and
yeah,
happy to share it. So
yeah,
listen to that. Listen to those energies. It speaks really for itself, I think. So.
exactly.
Mhm. I wanted to ask you specifically, what is your like vision and mission with like your business and sharing all of the education and everything around Palo Santo? I would love to hear more about you and your business, and yeah, what your passion is around all of that.
About me, definitely. So a bit like I told you, we come from, I personally come from very, very humble beginnings back home. Not necessarily surrounded around materialistic stuff or things in a way, more just valuing and being taught to appreciate the priceless things in life, right? So I always tell my kids is growing up, it was a small neighborhood in a park, and we didn't have a soccer field. We would play soccer every single day. I swear we were the best soccer players in the world in our minds. We didn't have a soccer field. We didn't have nets. Our soccer field was a parking lot. Our nets were just a wall here and a wall on the other side, and we had the best time. We had the best possible times. Um, I came to Canada when I was 12 years old. Didn't speak any English at all. Learned eventually I went to college for international business. My dream has always been to connect home with Canada. So I always put it this way. It's Ecuador gave birth to me and it raised me up until I was 12 years old. And then Canada adopted me. Canada kind of basically made me into a man, has given me a beautiful family, has taught me so many things that I would not have learned otherwise. But I've always kept in touch with Ecuador. It's my family. The vast majority of my family is still in Ecuador. I've taken my family back home many, many times. They love it. I've always stayed in touch with all of those natural things back home, family, the food itself.
Mm,
So my dream is that. My dream is to connect, right?
mhm,
So it's the reason why I went to school for international business is I wanted to connect. So eventually I started working here in a freight forwarder company. So
mhm,
I learned customs procedures, I learned freight forwarding. I've been in the industry for 12 years. But it's always been that is my real dream is to connect home. What every time I go back, there's just so many stuff back home that people make with their hands, and I know that people here in Canada appreciate those things. It's always been, this is it. I got to do something to connect. It's a business that goes way beyond just a business. It's a business that would be helping people, helping communities. So my dream is to help. Anybody that knows me personally knows that my biggest fulfillment is helping people. Um, I've been in martial arts for 9 years, so I'm also a Muay Thai instructor. We've gone to Thailand. My main teacher here in Canada, he's Thai. He actually brought Muay Thai here in the 1970s. He's raised many fighters, many champions, many schools. And he's the type of person that he loves to give back without expecting anything in return. He's done it for us. We went through rough times, even with my son. And when I reached out to him and I said, we call him Ajan. So Ajan in Thai is like master, right? And I
mhm,
said, Ajan, this is the challenges we're having. He was like, if you've watched Karate Kid, you know, Mr. Miyagi, just so full of wisdom, so full of knowledge. It's like he knows what's going to happen next. That was Ajan for me. Ajan said, don't worry, everything's going to be good. This is what we're going to do. It's going to be okay. And that's exactly what happened. We followed his lead, and everything just got better. And so what he's been doing throughout is he's been teaching me how to teach, how to help people. So my biggest thing is helping through Muay Thai. I believe martial arts helps change lives. So I love to help people through Muay Thai. What I love about it is the spirituality that I've gained through Muay Thai, because in Thailand, the culture, they're very spiritual. Being a martial artist requires spirituality, right? So that's what John taught me is being spiritual doesn't mean being religious. It's just completely different. So to me, it's, having done Muay Thai for almost 10 years, and then now having the opportunity to do something with Palo Santo and help, to me, it's like it just ties together so beautifully. Is like it's leading me into the path of passion, of that passion that I really want to achieve and fulfill. And so eventually, yeah, all of this, the Palo Santo, arta trading is just that. Arta trading is just connecting passions, connecting what people do, and just doing good with it, not just for something in return, not just for money. It's going beyond.
wow. Thank you so much for that. I'm like, I feel like I could just listen to your story and your passion all day because it's so like from the heart. You really feel it. And I feel like I have so many other questions about martial arts and like all of that. Like I would personally love to learn. It's such a, like you said, the spirituality that comes like from it is very, I can just sense it and I'm very pulled to it. So maybe I'll message you about some stuff because I would love
Definitely.
to learn. Um, I had another little question about you. I loved hearing about your like childhood and everything like that, and I can sense that your land and your community back home and just the environment of Ecuador is very, very dear to your heart and everything like that. And so how does Arta trading like give back to the environment and the communities over there? Like, is there ways that we can plant more Palo Santo, or like, is there programs like that, or like, is it even easy to like plant and germinate Palo Santo? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I would love to hear about that a little bit too.
For sure. I love to give back, even from a personal level. And I take in the most humble manner possible. I can say that Arta Trading has been given back since before Arta Trading even existed.
Mm.
Um, and our mission is that it's if we are bringing a natural product from the land, I feel it's only right that we give back, right? And we're already giving back in a way to the people that make all of this by purchasing their products. This is what keeps them going. But I feel that we need to do more. So when I basically met our partners in Ecuador, the very first thing that we discussed was reforestation. Is there a way that we can do reforestation as a group? So what we're doing, and we've only been in business, I can say maybe just for a year now.
Wow.
We're already part of a reforestation project. In August 2021, with our partners, we helped plant 350 trees. There
Mm.
was a community of 35 volunteers that came together in Ecuador, and 350 trees were planted in an area that is basically a national park protected by the government. This
Oh,
is land that is protected. Now,
wow.
the trees, when they're planted, I actually have a video of that project in our Instagram page. The
Mm.
trees are very small, very tiny. They will take a long time to grow. So
Mm.
what we're doing right now, it's not for immediate benefit. This is more for future sustainability. This is to ensure that, you know what, there's going to be Palo Santo in the future. And the communities that are working with it right now are still going to have a sustainable way of earning a living in the future,
Mm.
right? So to me, I'm very optimistic. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful for all of the support that we've got so far. Every time that somebody buys a product from us, they're
Mm.
not just helping a small business here in Canada. They're helping our small business in Ecuador. They're helping communities, and they're automatically helping our reforestation program. So our reforestation program right now, it's not something on the side that we've said, you know, give us something extra for this. It's from what we do and what we make. We take a portion of it, and it automatically goes into doing this.
Wow.
Our goal is to keep on doing it. Our goal is to do it even bigger. And my dream is actually, it's a dream that I see very happening very soon, to go back and actually plant a tree with my own hands. It's a must. It's a must.
I see it too. It's happening very soon.
It is. I want to put it out there. It's happening very soon.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, Besides that, I really want to share this because I feel, you know, I'm the type of person that I've always, if you look at my personal things, I don't promote everything we do. But there was something that happened in 2016. So in 2016, Ecuador had a very massive earthquake. Um, there was a lot of devastation, a lot of devastation, a lot of infrastructure, a lot of, most importantly, a lot of, sadly, a lot of lives were lost. Actually, I have some relatives that passed away in this earthquake. But when we found that out here in Canada, and this is something that it was just such a beautiful thing, because through Muay Thai, through our Muay Thai community, my wife and I started a process. We said there's something we got to do. We got to just try to help people, especially because I'm very connected with my family back home. I was hearing all the stories of what was actually happening, things that you wouldn't necessarily see in the news. So we began doing fundraisers here through our Muay Thai community. It was beautiful to see how much people came together in 2016, not just in the Muay Thai community, but in general, relatives, people we didn't even know. Just everybody came through together. We even had our flights donated because we didn't want to send money back just like that and say, you know what, okay, let's trust this to somebody else. To me, that was very sacred. So we said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go. It was dangerous. It was not necessarily the safest thing to do, but I said, if we have the power to do good, you have to do it. You have to do what you can. So my wife and I went back home. We were actually fortunate enough that we had two corporations here donate our flights. On top of donating money, they also donated the flights. So we went back in right after all of this happened. We brought financial help. We brought several bags filled with clothes for people, for kids. I have a few pictures I can share with you.
Mhm.
We traveled. It was like a long travel. Like we traveled from here to Ecuador, and then we had to take a trip by car, almost another 10 hours in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Long story short, from everything that I don't like to say we, is from everything that the people here came together for. We managed to come together to make about, if I recall correctly, about 150 bags with different types of non-perishables, so foods, even toothpaste, just general essentials. And we went to the devastated areas and we donated to people that were living in camps just along the highway, in literally in tents. We handed them out with what the people here helped us come up with. We rebuilt 3 houses. One of them was my grandmother's house. We basically, her whole house came down. We managed to rebuild it, and we did so to 2 other houses. It was just, to me, the most beautiful thing. Some of this help, without us knowing, was in the land of Palo Santo. It was pretty much by very actually where my grandfather's farm is. And this is why I take so much pride with Palo Santo, because I truly feel that it was because of the good things that, again, I don't like to say we, I like to say that the people around us, the good things that we've done as a group. It's the land is somehow, I feel, giving us this opportunity to do more. It's, you know what, it's keep on helping, keep on doing, keep on giving.
Wow. It's all interconnected, and I love,
I believe so. Yeah.
I love the, I love to hear that in 2016, when, that happened back home for you, that people here were able to donate. Like, that just, I got chills when you were talking.
It was
Uh,
amazing. Yeah, yeah. It started so small and then it got big, and we were just so
wow.
humbled to see all of it.
Wow. I mean, it's very sad to hear what happened, but I think it's also very good to hear that we could come together, even, like, I don't know how far Canada and Ecuador is in
Yeah,
kilometers, but,
yeah,
people back here were just, yes, let's help. Because again, like, I don't know, I'm sure we get a bunch of food here in Canada from Ecuador. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's we're all interconnected people and beings, and the planet.
yeah.
We have to help each other and our brothers and sisters. We are a big, big community, I believe. You know. Um,
Exactly.
wow, thank you for sharing that story. Though, it's like, I personally don't remember hearing about that in 2016. I'm trying to, like, think if I did, but it's sad. Like, this is why I wish I want to, like, I don't like to watch the news, but I wish I could, like, watch a news that's like positive news. Like, this happened, but then we have these people, like, giving back. You know what I mean? Like, kind of a more of an educational news. Like, I would
Yeah,
I would tap
yeah.
because I don't know. I think you know what I mean about.
And you're 100% right. I think things happen every single day. And there's a lot of good people out there still. I'm honestly not trying to put myself in that category. I'm just saying people that have helped me, people
Yeah,
that have helped me without asking for anything in return. There's a lot of good people out there. And it's just that it just takes a decision to give back, or to do something beyond, right?
yes, so align and agree with that. And I think holding that in our hearts, especially maybe during these times, helps us see more of that. Like,
Yeah,
there are amazing things happening every day right now, even
yeah.
through the state of the world right now. So yeah, thank you for touching base on that. So it's life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful.
um, in conclusion, if you had one thing to say or to share to someone right now listening to this, what would you like to tell them?
Never lose hope, never lose faith. Let's just keep on working together. There's always so much good to live for, so much good to discover. Life always presents you with challenges, with opportunities, and it's not so much It's not so much what you necessarily have, not necessarily material things, but just even if in general situations, it's what you do with what you have, right? It's learning to appreciate and value the small things in life that don't have a price, right? Um, so much challenges, not to use the word negativity, but so many challenges during this past 2 years. Yet I feel personally, for me, it has been a time of reflection. It's been a time of catching up with things that I was missing out on before pandemic times. Um, the biggest one was my kids. Is really getting to see everything I was missing when I wasn't home because I was working so much, right? um, that from a general perspective of life, it's we always have more inside. We're truly never alone. I know it might seem that way, but it's there's always somebody out there. There's always a way that you can just stand back up and keep on going, and find a reason to do things great, better than yesterday, right?
Yes.
One of the biggest thing I use in martial arts as a martial arts instructor, it's never compete with anybody else necessarily. Your biggest competitor, your biggest challenge is yourself.
Mm.
Always aim at being better than what you were yesterday. Nothing else matters, right? It's you. Once you build yourself, you have the power to do a lot more for other people. And I call it being a superhero. I'm training right now. I'm training an 11-year-old boy. When he came to me, he had his challenges, feeling down, feeling lack of confidence. And the first thing I said to him was, "You're a superhero. You just don't know it yet. So what I'm gonna do is, from a martial arts perspective, I'm gonna show you some of those powers, but then you're gonna have to use those powers for good, right? Just like a good superhero." And to him, I was like, "Wow, okay." So it's the improvement I've seen right there. It's tremendous. Again, that from a general perspective of life. If we come back to Palo Santo, it's please know your source. Know your source. Ask about your sourcing. Ask questions. Exactly what you said, Alex. It's ask questions. Again, I'll remind you. It's ask about what type of Palo Santo tree is. Make sure that the type that you're buying is not endangered, and ask about certificates. Again, it's those are things that the government provides back home when Palo Santo is exported legally. So importers here should have it,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Thank you. Thank
Thank you, Alex.
you. I'm so grateful, and I'm so excited to share this and have all of you watch this beautiful, beautiful video and all your knowledge and just get to see your light. So if you have any questions, you can put them down below, or you can ask Oswaldo directly on his page at Arta Trading on Instagram. I'll put the links below, or you can ask me and I can direct them to him. Like, we're all in this together, and there's no silly questions. And
None at all.
yeah, like, please ask away, be curious, kind of like a little child. We all have our little child in us. Be curious, be playful, and just remember that we're all interconnected. So our choices every day do matter. And we have the opportunity to support the beautiful people of Ecuador through these beautiful purchases, which I think are just beautiful. Honestly, I keep smelling it.
I love
Have to
it.
buy it to know when you'll know when you have sustainable Palo Santo. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sending you lots of love, and I'm sending lots of love to you and your family. And
Likewise.
I'm excited to chat again. And yeah, have a beautiful day, everybody, and for you as well.
Have a beautiful day as well. Enjoy it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again for your time, and thank you for having us. And we'll be sharing a lot more of Ecuador in our pages. I'll be sharing it with you as well. And exactly what you said. I love to talk about this. I'm very passionate. It's to me, don't feel shy. Ask me anything you want, and I'll be happy to answer. So thank you
Oh,
for your time, Alex.
thank you. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.